Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 200 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, 200 episodes.
Dude, 200 episodes, and we're live, Facebook Live, so people can see this later, but pretty cool, man. 200 episodes. I mean, I don't know what kind of milestone that is, but
Right.
You know, they haven't fired us yet, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, I was kind of thinking about it today a little bit, and just the fact that I don't know, sticking with something like we have this long, it's pretty cool, man. Pretty happy about it. It's I don't know, hard to put into words, man. It's very cool. Like, it's a cool friendship that we have that got this thing going, and I'm just happy to still be doing it 200 episodes later.
If I wouldn't have had that NASCAR cup sitting on my desk when you worked at the Herald with
That's
me,
right.
This thing would have happened.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me we've been able to talk about NASCAR this long, because we like we said before, we did it on the way down to Eldora, and that's how we that's how we got the idea to do this to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, 6 hours in the car talking about NASCAR both ways.
Yeah.
You kind of realize you got a lot of stuff you can talk about. So
Yeah. Well, we are definitely motor mouths. So it never stops, which it's hard to believe that even that far back was seven years ago, or
yeah.
Oh, well, heck, it was 8 years ago, 2013, right? So
Yeah.
it's been a long time, but and obviously we haven't had the podcast going that long, but still, you know, we started the podcast, what, Eric, 2017?
Yep.
So yeah, it was the Martin Truex Junior Championship season, and we started that one, and we've been going pretty much every week ever since during the season. There's and technically this is your 200th episode.
That is true.
I've missed what, 2 or 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we've had Todd on, our buddy Todd, who's covered it. Aaron Bearden co-hosted with you once. So pretty cool that we've kept it going so long and done some pretty cool stuff. Had some pretty cool interviews over the past few years, you know, and here we are, 200 in.
Yeah, now that things are getting normal again, hopefully we'll get a little bit more of that. Hoping to go down to Michigan in August.
Yeah.
Maybe get some driver audio, things like that. I don't know how that's going to work with the video now, but
I'm not sure
we'll figure
either,
it out.
Yeah, well, and you know, too, with you moving so close, we can do some more in-person pods, which we've done it. We've done honestly, we've done it over Skype and now Zoom for this entire time. Like, we were Zooming before I guess it was popular, but
right.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. You know, we were pandemic ready. We never had to miss a beat.
Right.
So,
yeah. When I was living in a camper, that was the roughest part, because we had to do it in person.
That's right. Yeah, that was a fun stretch of time, man. Yeah,
we've been through a lot with this thing.
Yeah, no kidding. We recorded from my kitchen table, your living room, couple of times,
from a hotel room in Kentucky one week,
in your car, on the way home from a track. So yeah, we've been all over the place with this thing, man.
Yep, we've done it just about everywhere. It's been something for sure.
Yep.
So James, got some show and tell for you this week. I have to shout out my stepdad Mike, who let me raid the cabinet this weekend, and
the world famous garage, right?
Collect a bunch of die-cast cars, and
nice.
And I've got a cool one here in a second, but so this is fueling me now. So now I have an excuse to get some die casts.
Oh no, you're in now.
So
this is how it starts.
Here's what I'm going to try and do. I want to get all of the race winning cars, which is already going to be a challenge because they're usually limited edition. I want to get the race winning cars of the races I've covered.
Mm-hmm.
My first one I'm shooting for is trying to get the Kyle Busch Chicagoland, but that one's going to be tough because they're sold out everywhere. Yeah. But I'm going to be searching. I'm going to be looking.
I'm telling you what, man, Facebook Marketplace has one ridiculous algorithm, because they keep sending me die-cast cars all the time.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good too, because it's all like Ernie Irvin, Tony Stewart stuff. And I'm just like, wow, look at these die-cast. And then I come across like Kyle Petty ones, which was my favorite when I was a kid. Kyle Petty's Mellow Yellow. I'd have to ask my mom, but thousands of those cars in my house. Which is funny. I don't have any of them on my shelf. I should at least maybe get one of them, but
I
That's
saw the pre-order for the Kevin Harvick Gravedigger car today, and I almost pulled the trigger on it.
that was such a cool car.
There will not be a cooler paint scheme this year.
Yeah,
There's no way.
yeah.
So,
Although the Stroker Ace that Corey LaJoy is going to run, um, is pretty badass.
yeah.
I like that car. Yeah, it's a good looking car.
All right, so here we go.
Let's do it.
This is a 118 scale. James, I
Sure.
know you. When I show this to you, you're gonna go, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing a picture of that." So
Yeah.
this is the Dale Earnhardt International Motorsports Hall of Fame induction car from
Oh, no.
2006. So this is a 118 scale, and this is it.
Nice.
This car is incredible. It is the most detailed diecast I've ever seen. I mean, they've actually, I know it's hard to see on here, but they've actually got the screens in the grills. It has.
Who made it? Who made it?
I'm trying to remember who made it.
Would it be Action? Was it Action back then?
I just looked it up today, and I don't remember.
No, that's right. I put you on the
who
spot.
it
That's my
was.
bad.
Yeah, you did. It was made in China, if that tells you anything. So it even has. I don't know how well you can see it, but it has the cooling hoses for the rear brakes.
It is pretty detailed. Holy cow.
The suspension works in it.
Nice.
Everything opens. It is just incredible. I mean, even as far as the hood has the hood tethers.
Oh wow. Okay, I haven't seen that before. That's awesome. Yeah, it is super
Yeah.
detailed. That's really good. I like that one.
The tethers for the roof
Dang.
flaps are there. It's incredible. This car is the coolest thing, and I believe I was told too, but I don't remember that it's actually made with the same style of sheet metal that they made the actual legit car with.
Oh, nice.
But I could be wrong on that.
That's a really good show and tell. I like that one.
I like that one. I've got so many more. I'm gonna save them because.
Well, if we're gonna keep doing video, we
Yeah.
gotta. Yeah, I've got some really cool pieces too that I'll eventually get to. But that's a good one, man. That's really good.
Yeah, I was excited about that one. That one was the first one I thought of when I was raiding the cabinet. I wanted
Nice.
I told my stepdad, I said, if I don't get to keep that one, I want to at least take it home and do a show and tell with it and bring it back. So
Yeah.
But he's
That's
all
cool.
in. He's excited about this. They've been kind of buried back in the back of the garage. Nobody really gets to see them, and so now they'll get to display here in my office and in the studio, and
Yeah.
people actually get to see them. So
That's cool, man. That's awesome. We should share, maybe get a picture of it and put it on the Facebook page or something too.
there you go.
Kind of
Yeah,
a cool
let's do
idea.
that.
So my show and tell, you mentioned it earlier, but this was the reason this podcast got started, and that is
Nice.
the ticket to the first truck race at Eldora.
And I know the autograph on it too. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so you remember the second year we went to Eldora, I had a mission that Austin Dillon, the winner of that very first Mud Summer Classic, would autograph this ticket stub, and by God, I got it right there.
That's awesome.
Austin Dillon. So first ticket, Austin Dillon signed it. One of my favorite pieces. I'm not not a huge Austin Dillon fan, but the tickets got Austin Dillon on the background. It was just meant to be that he was going to win that race. So that's what's pretty cool about that. But that same day, I don't know if you remember, Eric, we had a bunch of autographs that day that were really cool. Brad Keselowski, on the ticket for the following year. So I wanted to share that one. That's one of my, I've got really cool pieces that I really, I don't collect sheet metal or anything like that. I've got, cool cars and stuff and autographs, autographs on die casts and hats and things like that. But this one right here is top 5 favorite things I have. It's just because that was such a cool event, a lot of fun, and I made it my mission to get Austin Dillon's autograph on the winning ticket stub. So
that's awesome.
We can see where we sat, how much we paid. July 24th, 2013. So
nice.
A lot of good memories from those days, though. That was pretty fun. I wanted to do that one just since it was our 200th episode. I thought that makes sense.
Let's when that was the Mud Summer Classic and not the Dirt Derby.
Yeah, now it doesn't even exist. But it was so much fun back in the that was probably, if I had to think about the most, that was my heyday of NASCAR fandom. Those were some really cool days that were going on at that time. So
that first race, just not knowing what to expect. James and I sat there for all of the practice sessions.
Yeah, we
didn't
there.
Miss a thing that weekend. And it was just, it was so cool that, usually when somebody spins in practice, they throw a red flag and everybody comes down pit road. They just threw a caution because so many people were spinning out.
Yeah.
And we even up to the race night, we weren't sure what we were going to get. And then we got the heat races and it's like, holy crap, this is actually going to work. And it was just incredible.
Yep. And we've come a long way since then. That was the start of, getting to where we've been this year with dirt on Bristol,
I hope
if it wasn't for that, the day that we were there, we wouldn't have it today. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
I hope NASCAR takes some advice from SRX though, and pulls the windshield out of these things at dirt tracks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that was a big advantage this weekend. We didn't have any issues with dirt on the front of those cars.
Yeah.
In the SRX race. We'll talk more about SRX. It's not in the notes, but don't let me forget. I do
want to talk about it too. Yeah, it's been fun. And they're going and to bring it full circle, SRX is at Eldora on Saturday night.
Yep.
I'll be watching.
How incredible is it that they don't even go back to the shop? They just go to the next track and work on the cars there.
I thought about that today. Yeah, they just do the cars, they do the body work and everything right at the track each week. Yep. This 6-week run is for the guys working on these cars and everything that they're doing, man. That's awesome. Really cool.
Especially when Tony Kanon's driving. I mean,
Paul Tracy.
A lot of work there. Or Paul Tracy.
Paul Tracy. Yeah, Paul Tracy's really bending up the sheet metal.
He's a disaster, but
and it's my favorite. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know you guys are buddies.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk some NASCAR, James. It was the inaugural Ally 400 from Nashville Super Speedway this weekend, and I just put in the notes Kyle Larson because
we're out of things. We were out of things to talk about 2 weeks ago, so I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Every time we say he can't dominate a race more than he's dominated a race, he comes out and leads 264 of 300 laps.
I know people are trying to compare this season to Kevin Harvick last year, but I cannot remember. I mean, Johnson was dominant like this, but man,
though, Johnson was dominant in that he was there at the end. He'd have a bad car and they'd fix it and he'd be racing at the end and race for the win. He'd sneak a win out.
Yeah.
This is just, you go into the race and 10 laps in, Larson's going to win this race.
Yeah. Yeah. Even, Tony, remember when Tony won the championship in 2011, he won those 5 races in 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But he didn't dominate those races. He just was, it was just kind of a miracle run. This is just flat out. I mean, different types of tracks, different types of engine packages. The guy's just flat out dominating everything. It's just incredible. What a run.
It's quite amazing. And James, I don't know about you, but even with him dominating this race, I thought it was a good race.
It was a great race. Yeah.
Excellent racing for second.
Yeah. I felt, so I will toot my own horn here a little bit. I felt vindication from watching this race.
Yeah.
Because I remember catching crap on Twitter for being a little bit excited about having Nashville come back. I remember we did a podcast on it when it was announced and I was like, man, I'm excited. This is a new place we haven't been to in a while. It's pretty cool. And when we saw some decent racing on Sunday, I was like, yeah, okay.
When we saw decent racing on Friday, I was excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, and I'll give it to NASCAR or whoever made the decision to put the resin down. Let's put that down at some tracks, guys. Get rid of this PJ1 crap. We had multiple grooves, which is something we've never had at Nashville.
Yeah. And attrition on the brakes, which
I didn't realize that this wasn't a 1.5 mile track.
Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Races like a short track is what what the drivers kept saying all week. And the teams that brought their short track brake packages were the ones who were able to sustain. I mean, it seemed conservative. Like I heard Larson and his team talking about after the race, they were worried they were going to be too conservative with the short track brake package, but I mean, it didn't matter. He was flat out beating everybody. And the guys that brought the other brake package, man, rough day for a lot of guys. A lot of guys had trouble.
Well,
that was fun.
Especially Ryan Blaney. I mean, Ryan Blaney had the worst of it. And then, I don't know how many of the other accidents were from Blaney's crash because some of them were brake issues, but some of them were hitting debris too. And so I think that definitely had an effect, just not being able to clean up all those brake parts as well as they needed to. But yeah, Blaney had just an atrocious hit. That was pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah. He hit hard. Huff early. He hit pretty good. That one wreck with Busher where 2 cars crashed at once. That was an interesting one.
Right.
So yeah, it was, we haven't seen attrition. I don't know about you, Eric, but I don't remember a race where we had attrition like this. with parts failures and things in a long time. These cars are so good now. The parts and pieces are so good that we just don't see it. So
Yeah, I don't want to see people wrecking out of races because of attrition or because of parts breaking, but it was nice to see stuff wear out for
yeah,
once.
yeah, it was old school kind of. And
I mean,
the
what was
racing,
Blaney 26 laps in or something that first pit stop when all the brake dust was coming out of that front wheel?
yeah, his yellow tires were
Holy
black.
crap.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something else, man. They were using up their stuff, which, mixing it up and going to new facilities, there's something to be said for that too. So
Right.
yeah, that was, yeah, I don't want to see guys wrecking all the time, but seeing the technology of the cars be pushed was definitely a good sign for
Yeah,
me.
I agree.
Yep.
Back to Kyle Larson. Rick Hendrick says in post race that there's increased interest in sponsorship. I just put duh in the notes because, of course, there is. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
3 in a row now, going for 4 in a row, going for 5 if you count the All Star race. Of course, he's going to
Yeah.
have interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's performing his way back into sponsorship opportunities.
yeah. I mean, this is
So
how it's supposed to work. He screwed up. He paid the price, and now he's reaping the benefits of the comeback.
running great. Yeah, I mean, and Nate Ryan wrote an excellent piece for NBC on his comeback and what he's been up to, and it's really cool that we've come kind of full circle, Eric, on Rick Hendrick letting him race dirt the way he is. And I have to wonder, back when Casey Kane drove for Hendrick, he wasn't allowed to do a whole lot of dirt, but Casey Kane was making what, 2 or 3 times what Kyle Larson's probably making at this point. So the financial investment being lower for Larson has opened up some opportunities. And Kyle says that, the dirt racing helps him. He believes it helps him perform even better. And he's beating the best of the best every single, time he's, no matter what he's in, he's winning outlaw races. He's winning late models. And obviously the Cup Series, he's beating the pants off of everybody. So
like I said last week,
something there.
Let's put him in some cars. Let's get him in an F1 car. Let's get him in an Indy car. I want to see what he can do and everything.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible what he does.
He might be coming for Tony's crown.
He's probably already there. I don't remember Tony ever doing this.
Yeah, no, Tony never did this. I mean, Tony was good, but
I know
level.
No, and I know we're gonna talk about Kyle Busch in Xfinity. Kyle Busch winning 100 Xfinity races is awesome, but the Xfinity series isn't the best of the best. That's the up and comers he's beating. Kyle Larson's going to these guys' playgrounds, and he's the best driver. Which
he's doing it in a late model that he'd never run.
I know, which is it's flat out incredible. We can be impressed by numbers from many things, but watching what Kyle Larson did last year in dirt, what he's continued to do now, and now that he's transitioned into the Cup Series, I think he's almost the points leader now. So he's definitely it's on a whole nother level. I mean, we'll probably we go into Pocono this weekend for 2 races, and I don't know what we're gonna say if he wins both of them. There's a good chance he could do it. So we are really running out of material for Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely scary.
Yeah, it is for sure.
So, sorry, I'm just trying to. I finally figured out how to find the comments on Facebook. So,
oh, nice.
Let's see. Chase Elliott, big news out of the race, DQ'd for 5 loose lug nuts. Bob Pockers made sure to note those were not all on the same wheel. Another reporter, I don't remember who it was, noted that there was one loose lug on each wheel, which apparently he doesn't realize that there's 4 tires on a car, not 5. So one of them at least had 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, DQ'd for this. What do you think, James? Is this a fair penalty?
Chase doesn't think so. I don't know, man. The rules are the rules. So, here's the thing that I don't think people pay attention to very much. But watch pit stops throughout the race and watch how many lugs are getting hit early on pit stops.
Yeah.
It ain't 5. I'm telling you right now, it ain't 5.
Right.
When they're early on in the race. But when it comes down to what might be your last pit stop of the day, that's when the 5 lugs are usually.
When that car drops, if they haven't hit 5 lugs before that car drops, they're not all tight.
Yes, that's right.
And even then, if you ever tightened a wheel, if you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you go back to 1 because it's not tight.
Right.
And they're not going back to 1.
No.
So
No.
so here's my issue with this, James. And yeah, you got a good point. They're doing this throughout the race, but the penalty, the violation was at the end of the race.
Right.
So I'm all right with losing the points at the end of the race, but he shouldn't lose the stage points.
That's his argument, and
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I mean,
Because if the tire comes off, like Chase said in his tweet, if the tire comes off and he crashes, he keeps the stage points.
right.
So he loses. I mean, valuable stage points for him because he won stage 1, so he lost a playoff point there. You don't get that playoff point back, and as we know, Eric, ask Kevin Harvick how valuable one playoff point can be.
Yep.
That could come back and bite them real bad. So I understand that they're being upset about that for sure. But again, like, it sucks. I hate it, but
We only have to worry about it for what, like 20 more races, and then we'll have one not.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, the thing is, he lost a playoff point, and what? He's already in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not the biggest failure in the world, but that 9 team's pretty fast on pit stops, and there's reasons why. So
yeah,
NASCAR's probably watched them pretty close. Probably been something that they've been keeping their eye on. I wouldn't doubt it.
they managed to make the fast pit stop in the All-Star race, though, and they got them all tight there.
That's right. Yep. Sometimes you got to get your hand slapped to, kind of ship shape, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit too harsh, but NASCAR put this rule in place years back now for safety reasons, and so this is what it is.
I don't know. I personally like the enforce it on your own thing better.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a lot of talk about concern over safety, but we didn't have a tire come off. The drivers are generally pretty good at knowing when it's loose, and so they'll generally stop if they need to. So I don't know. I mean,
yeah. And the problem back in the day was, and the thing is too, next year this isn't a problem. It's one lug and done.
Right. The biggest problem with it is that you don't know where the tire is going to go when it comes off the car.
Right.
And,
right.
IndyCars had people killed because of tires going in the stands. It happened at Michigan.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing with NASCAR too, is they chose to do this because these teams were only hitting 3 lugs on purpose. Like, that's all they were. Like, their goal was to hit 3 lugs, and they were done. And
right, you can't have a gray area in a rule. You have to have a
enforce.
A line.
Yep, the rule is the rule, and enforce it. So
yeah,
there you go.
Anything else worth talking about in this race, James? I know, like I said, it's pretty much a Kyle Larson day. Ross Chastain gets a second place finish, rallies at the end.
Yeah, we should talk about that a little bit. He had a really great run. He led some laps, just a handful there, but was around all day. And one of the great things I liked going into this weekend, Eric, was we got practice, which felt super normal again. But looking at the 10-lap averages from practice, had a feeling Ross was going to have a great day. So that was good to see, because I think CGR needed a good weekend, and Kurt ran well, finished 8th.
Yeah.
Scored 40 points on the day. So they had a little bit of a pit strategy move there towards the end of the race that kind of positioned them well, and came away with a great run. Finishing second to Kyle Larson's, is as good as you're going to get right now. So it's pretty much a win.
Eric Almirola rallies again. Another good finish, 4th place for him. Continuing that resurgence that they need desperately there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6th place. Great race for him. He was strong all day, and placed top 10 in all 3 stages. Daniel Suarez with a 7th place finish.
Yeah, Trackhouse continues to be solid, completely solid every single week that they show up. Daniel's driving great. The cars are holding up and running really well. Can't ask for much more out of a first-year team like that. They are people know that they're around, and that's the best that they can ask for.
Yep, for sure.
Your buddy Kyle Busch had a day.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Managed to run really well with a crappy car, and then it just all went to hell at the end.
Oh my God. He was complaining something fierce on the radio.
Yeah, he was a peach.
Oh my goodness. And then, the team finally got him quiet because the car was so bad, and then they thought that that he couldn't hear him. So that was Kyle usually gets mad on the radio at least once a week, but that was a hissy fit. He
Yeah.
was fit to be tied.
The win is Kyle Larson's 10th victory in 240 Cup Series races. Kind of crazy to think it's only 10 victories for him, but that number is going to climb.
Yeah.
Anthony Alfredo was our top finishing rookie at 18th.
I saw
Denny Hamlin still leads the points, but only by 9 points.
Yeah, he's ripped off. I think he's cut 140 some points from the lead. I saw in the comments. I'm kept trying to keep comments on the live video, and Ranger made a good point. Our buddy Ranger Runyon said it was nice to see the 750 package and them guys being able to slide around. I agree 100%. I know Jeff Gluck will not agree with that, but yes, that's why I think the racing, obviously Larson is in his own class, but watching the racing throughout the field, I think having the high horsepower package on a track like this with the resin that you mentioned, Eric, that they put down, I feel like they had a nice little combo there.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of putting stuff on the surface, but they had something working there. And I mean, yeah, great show. Nashville, I don't think we said enough about putting on a great race, but that facility was empty for 10 years and 3 great races, solid. I mean, 3 solid races, not the best thing in the world. I know Sunday, a good problem to have, Eric, when you can't get people to the track on time, you have to delay the start. I know it sucks, and we have a Kentucky situation, but Nashville's never had, even when the Xfinity Series was out there, Eric, I bet you they never had that many people there.
No,
this is probably the most they've ever had by far. So to see, I don't mind delaying the start of the race if we're gonna pack a place like that, and they're probably gonna have to add some grandstands if they're gonna keep running there. It was a nice debut for Nashville. Don't know how long we're gonna be racing here, but regardless, I think they nailed it, man. That's an A, not quite an A plus, but that's an A weekend for them. Can't ask for much more.
Yeah, I think we definitely got we've got a few years out of it. I believe it's a couple year deal they have going there, and yeah, I mean it was a good race. It was exciting. It was compelling all day, even with a domination. I'm trying to find the Nick Bromberg tweet. Here it is. Left unsaid, he says there's no excuse for NASCAR not to sell out a 40,000 seat venue that's never hosted a cup race in a market that hasn't had a cup race in over 3 decades. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. No.
I mean, 40,000 is not a lot of seats.
Hey, that's an MLB baseball game.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way.
I mean, I do agree. I think they'll put some more permanent seats in there. There were complaints about the temporary seats I saw on Reddit that people's knees were in other people's backs, but nobody was complaining. Everybody was, they were good with it. I think the only complaint I have over this whole thing, James, is time of race. 3 hours, 30 minutes, 23 seconds. Yeah. This thing felt like an eternity. It was a long race.
Yeah, but I think that is part of that attrition. We go back to a lot of cautions.
Well, you had 11 cautions for 60 laps. That'll slow things down.
That's going to slow things way down. And, next time we come to Nashville next year, the new car, I guess we don't really know, but I bet you they'll have a better brake package.
Well, they won't be able to tape stuff up next year for one.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the podcast, but they're not allowed to use tape on the grill with a next gen car.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. That'll be nice. Well, speaking of that too, that was actually one of the more intriguing parts of this race too, was Larson having the entire facility's garbage on his grill
right
a bunch of times.
Well, when you're out front the entire race, you're going to be the one that picks up the trash.
Yeah, he was sweeping the track, that's for sure. But nice driving by Larson though too, to get up on the lap traffic and blow that stuff away, which was, I guess, when Kyle Larson's doing that type of stuff, that he can save fuel, get trash off his grill, and outrun everybody. I guess that does make for some intriguing racing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Truck Series. Truck Series was in action as well. Kicked the weekend off, and Ryan Preece gets the win in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got lost in the comments.
I know it's kind of fun doing things live. I like it. Yeah, we got outside information coming in, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan Preece, and then the Todd Gilliland issue.
Yeah.
But I tried damned if I do, damned if I don't. But I wanted to find a way to penalize you in our picks, 25 points, but they penalized them before the race. So
Yeah, it's probably would be fair for me to lose those points, but I'm going to take it. We agreed at the beginning of the season that what the sheet says is what we go by.
the sheet
So
says,
the
yeah,
sheet
yep,
says he didn't lose any points in the race. But yeah, Todd Gilliland got docked 25 points at and had the front of his truck taken off after
yeah,
not passing pre-qualifying inspection. Still managed to rally for second place finish though.
yeah, he did, and didn't score well in the first stage, but definitely rallied. It seemed like it was Grant Enfinger's day. Chandler Smith, nice to see. I know he's kind of the motorsports analytics darling for David Smith. So nice to see Chandler Smith up front quite a bit. But Ryan Preece snuck up there in that Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford. And I don't know. I felt like he got quite a bit of attention for winning this Truck Series race. You know, he we don't hear a lot from him right now in the Cup Series because of, I think, what he's driving. And I know he's got a charter issue this year, so running in the back quite a bit. But when you put him in high level equipment, much like many other Cup drivers who run in the Truck Series, he can pull out a win. And that must have been cool for him to get that monkey off his back. It's been a minute since Ryan Preece got a win.
Yeah, it's always nice when you're used to winning to get another one after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to add really quick that I was looking at Truck Series wins for the season, and everybody who's won a Truck Series race outside of Todd Gilliland, who has one, and Ben Rhodes, who has two, everybody else who's won in the Truck Series this year is a Cup Series driver. Oh, I miss Sheldon Creed, but he's a champion. But anyway, yeah, so I'm counting John Hunter Nemechek as a Cup Series driver. I'm sorry.
Right.
He's winning all these races, but it's John Hunter, Kyle Busch, Ryan Preece, Martin Truex Jr. Got a majority of the wins. Obviously Kyle Busch is going to do that, but anyway, that was just kind of a thought that I had, just randomness that runs through my brain at certain points of the day.
Anything else with this one, James? Not a whole lot to talk about.
No, good debut though. Like I think going back to what you said though, was a good sign when the trucks ran a good race here. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, definitely set the bar for the weekend, and everything was able to live up to it. I think the best race of the weekend, still, other than the victory by Kyle, probably the Xfinity race. Xfinity tends to put on a really good show anywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle Busch, KFB, gets his 100th Xfinity Series victory. Said after the race that he doesn't believe JGR has sold any races for him next year. So after he's running 2 more races this season yet, he might be done in the Xfinity Series. We'll see. I don't buy it.
Right.
He also commented tongue in cheek that he could just quit the Cup Series and race Xfinity full time because he likes winning.
So. Wow. Well, yeah. Just beating up on the young guys all the time. Yeah. Okay, yep. Kyle. Yeah. Pretty cool milestone though, Eric.
Yeah,
I will say.
Yeah, love him or hate him. I mean, it's pretty neat.
Yep. And he kind of, I don't know. I'm looking at, looking at his numbers really quick. 360 starts, 100 wins. Oh man. So he's basically one in every 4, one in every 3.5 races. Kyle Busch is going to win in the Truck Series. He would have had this record. That's the thing we got to mention though, too. He would have had this record
right
years ago if they wouldn't have put a cap on him,
Yeah.
So, and as much as Kyle Busch loves the numbers, I think we talked about that last week a little bit, but he's having what is he? He's 3 for 3, right? In the Xfinity Series. I'm looking at it right. Yeah. Looking at it right now, 3 for 3 this year. So yeah, he can go 5 for 5. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
He almost did that in 2019. He was 4 for 5. Oh no, sorry. He had 7 starts that year. So he was 4 for 7. So that's pretty good. Trying to see some of his best numbers. Man, his Xfinity numbers are just stupid. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. I'm just looking. They're all 10-win seasons, 9-win seasons. Geez. Back when he could run for points, he was running 29 races and finishing 3rd.
Right.
So
one thing that this track tends to lend itself to, and we really only saw it, I think we saw it in the truck race too, but saw it a lot in this one, is head-on collisions.
Yeah, big crashes.
Yeah, we had a hell of a wreck there with Austin Cindric, and I mean, Cindric's probably got the worst of it, but that was a pretty brutal wreck there on the front stretch. We see that a lot at Nashville. We've seen it in the past. It's something with if you really look at the shape of the track, the straightaways are long on the front stretch, and that it's a really tight dog leg. Compared to the other tracks. And I know they mentioned it on NBC a couple times this weekend that the front stretch at, they kept calling it the front straightaway, but it's the front stretch at Nashville is longer than the one at Charlotte, despite the fact the track's shorter.
Yeah, it's really, I guess, pointy, with how far that D comes around. You go into really, I think that's why the drivers say that it drives like a short track, because you come so far around and then you're hitting tighter corners.
Yeah,
it's definitely, as far as D-shaped ovals are on the circuit, we have a lot of them, but none shaped quite like this. It's very, the infield grass is huge, just huge,
right?
Because of the way that point comes to at the start finish line. So, I mean, it was there were some big hits. That restart late that Kyle Busch had to manage, I guess, was really good, with guys bouncing off, Allgaier bouncing off of him, and my pick fading away. But very, very good racing, very tight racing. The restarts were fantastic. Xfinity Series continues to put on great shows. They've had a really good run of races, and this one was just, again, great for Nashville. 2 for 2 at the point when this race ran. They had some good runs going.
Right. Okay. Anything else with this, James?
With Nashville, man, we are. I saw a Rangers comment there.
Yeah,
we'll get to it. We are. I think we're good, man. We're good with Nashville. A lot of cool stuff going on. The Kyles continue to be the Kyles, but on to the Pocono Double.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if they'll put safer barriers all the way around this track for future races, because it's still the old style where it's just in the turns and in the tri-oval. Don't have it on the straightaways. I don't think it's as necessary on the straightaways, but it certainly helps.
Well, I wonder how much those materials are too.
Safer barriers ain't cheap, that's for sure.
That's right. Definitely not cheaper now.
No, I'm sure, right?
Right.
All right, James. We have a lot of news this week. We've gone all season with hardly any, and it all went crazy this week. So we'll try to run through these as quick as possible, because I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about several of these. But first off, it looks like there are likely plans for an all-electric companion series in NASCAR's future. According to Sports Business Journal, NASCAR is exploring the concept of starting an all-electric companion series in the coming years. NASCAR declined to comment this past week on the potential, but there were comments by Steve Phelps early in February and recent industry chatter that suggests that it is being explored behind the scenes.
Yep.
So not real surprising. I think this is the direction that we should expect them to go. Be interesting to see. You run something like that on an oval? Do you run it on street courses or whatever?
Well, do they do what they did with IMSA and buy the current series that's out there?
Right.
That's another option. I would assume they're probably going to explore that, and if so, that's a quick way to get a bunch of manufacturers into NASCAR. There's a ton of options when your video is hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't come through on the audio portion of this platform, but you'll see it in the video.
My children are in the background.
It's really funny. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I mean, obviously NASCAR has aspirations on getting manufacturers into the sport, and there's interest in the electronic portion of that. So I think it's a good idea to start and try, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. There was something else I was going to say with that, but I guess I don't remember what it was. Lots of news on the 2022 season. Starting off, GMS plans to compete in the Cup Series in 2022. I think, again, this is something we kind of saw coming. A lot of these teams that are big in the other series are going to try and take this opportunity to get into the Cup Series when the getting is good, I guess.
Well, yeah, and we might as well combine this with another one of our news notes too. GMS coming up, and then obviously Colleague mentioned that they're coming up as well. Yep. And it just makes sense, Eric, to for some of these teams, if they want to eventually get to this level, GMS has done everything you can do, in the truck series. And if now is the time for these series, for these smaller. Well, I guess they're not. I don't know what you would call them, Eric. They're not small teams. They are really good teams in the series that they're in. But when they come up to Cup, they will be considered a small team. But that being said, they will perform. These teams will not be they will not be the Rick Wares of the world, just to pick one.
Right.
They will. I love this. I love GMS coming up. I love seeing Colleague coming up, and we can talk about the Colleague details here in a second. But what that does for NASCAR is it just brings everybody's performance up when you've got the lesser teams being filled by organizations that want to spend, that want to run up front, that have a plan. They are there to race. They're not there to start and park. They're not there to buy a charter and sell it off. They are coming to race, and they are going to bring talented drivers with them.
Yep.
That is a great spot for our series. It just reminds me of when, not the same, but when Michael Waltrip and Toyota started to come into the series, Waltrip struggled, but they had funding in place and eventually became a championship contending team with Clint Boyer. So you've got some opportunity here, and with the new car, it just makes sense for teams like GMS and Colleague to finally, get the call up, as they say, to the big leagues.
Right. You mentioned Colleague. Colleague purchases 2 charters from Spire Motorsports. Justin Haley going to compete full-time in the Cup Series in 2022. AJ Allmendinger will compete part-time in the Cup and full-time in Xfinity. Note on the charters that they must run a full-time team with the second charter in order to have that charter. I'm assuming that they're going to lease that rather than do that. Maybe back to Spire, you think?
Well, I think what they'll do too is they will run a car part-time and use that charter to run another car out of another shop. Kind of like Ganassi is a good example of that when they run McMurray at Daytona.
Right.
They use a charter from another team and run those cars. So that's another option for them. I didn't think about it. We were messaging when all this was coming in and thought not sure what they were going to do, if they're going to lease it out, but that's another option I didn't think about at the time when we were talking earlier this week when this news broke. But I like it. Obviously they have a deal with Justin Haley to get him into a Cup Series ride full time. Right. I think they're missing an opportunity at a playoff spot with AJ Allmendinger, but he shows up and stinks up a show and wins some road course races. I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
He will have great resources to do so when we get to these road courses next year.
I think they're banking on AJ winning a championship in Xfinity.
Yeah, that's fine. And they have a plan in place, and they don't need to go in and set the world on fire in Cup right away. But, having somebody like AJ on staff, who's a great road course racer, can race with the best of them. Heck, we saw him run really great, at Coda for a little while there too. So, and he will win somewhere next year.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, he'll win in the Xfinity series, but he may win in the Cup Series too. I wouldn't put it past him. He can get it done. He's as good as anybody on the road courses. So I love this for them. The 2 charters is a big deal. Definitely a big advantage over teams like, 2311 Trackhouse, is going to be searching for a sponsor, or excuse me, for a charter. So they come in with resources and a solid foundation.
Well, you're just digging into my notes.
Sorry, man.
That's okay. Denny Hamlin did comment on expansion this week. Says they could run a second team even as an open car next year. Notes the current charter agreement runs through 2024, so there's always a possibility NASCAR could change it at that point. He didn't say that, but just putting that 2 and 2 together. He says he feels NASCAR will enforce its rule and take the charter from the 51 team, which has been at the bottom. Yep. But one way or the other, they plan to run a second car for 2311 next year.
Yeah. Again, I was just gonna say again, it's kind of the theme here, though. It just, again, with this new car, it's a ripe opportunity for 2311 to expand quickly, and especially if they can secure a charter and get a driver like Kurt Busch in place with sponsorship, it's just gonna continue to be great. I don't know, Eric, it's gonna be hard to get to a 4-car organization like we have right now. They are going to become a rarity. The Stewart Haas's, Hendrick, and Gibbs, they might be the last of the 4-car teams here for a long time.
Yeah, they could be.
This charter thing is going to be hard to navigate.
And then you mentioned Trackhouse. Trackhouse is looking for another charter. They don't have one yet, but that is in the works there as well. They are also planning on moving their team to Nashville, moving their shop to Nashville, right on Broadway, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So cool deal with them. Pitbull was in attendance at the track this weekend.
He's been at a few races this year.
Yeah, they had a couple press conferences. So
I think they see business opportunity in Nashville. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, NASCAR is investing in the future. I'd say if the fairgrounds thing doesn't happen, which I think that it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah,
if the fairgrounds thing doesn't happen, then we're still going to be at Nashville Super Speedway. So
Nashville's investing in motorsports in general, with IndyCar as well, running the street circuit there.
I think Nashville's turning into Austin right now. It's the place to be.
Yeah. I mean, they've got soccer. Obviously, they've got the NFL franchise, the Titans there too. So yeah, they have a little bit of everything, but they are going to be fully in the motorsports, which is great. I mean, country music and NASCAR are bread and butter, man. They go together perfectly. So
and Pitbull.
And yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. like Pitbull's a music industry guy, so
I know.
I mean, Nashville is a hub, not just country music. So it makes sense for them.
Yeah,
I would love to see them. I just love their performance this year. I love what they're doing. Not a huge Pitbull fan, but
hey, I got to see him live, man. I was got to see him on Tonight Show when I went to California.
That's an incredible nugget of information.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do with that.
He was right in front of me.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got to jump all around because James took me all out of order here.
Well, Eric, hold on. We've got a growing comment base going on right now that the boys need to come on to the pod.
I'll get them on. I'm going to try and probably save it till post show.
It's more than one person at this point now. So I have the comments kind of on the side, and the boys are going to make their entrance here eventually.
I might save it for post show because it's not going to translate well to the the actual podcast, but we'll see. We'll get there.
I wanted to put the pressure on you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's get through the news and then we'll approach that.
We'll reevaluate. All right.
Alex Bowman signs 2-year contract extension. Big deal for Alex Bowman because it's twice as long as the contracts he's signed so far.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Allies invested, Hendrick is invested, and I think that's going to be the norm for a lot of drivers like him. 2-year deals, flexibility for the driver, flexibility for the team. But Allies with this guy, they probably got their eye on Kyle Larson, but they made a 2-year commitment to Bowman. So I like it. I like it for Bowman. He's earned it. He's winning races and definitely. Third, but I don't know what to do with Hendrick Motorsports. I feel like they're all the same except for Larson. So
yeah,
but he's in the mix. I mean, he wins races. He's got 2 already this year. So
speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, Eddie DeHaan's back.
I don't know what to say here.
I don't know either.
Listen,
I mean, good on him, I guess. If the charges didn't end up being a thing, he's back doing what he was doing. So it's a tough situation because we're in this world that all it takes is an accusation to get somebody fired or get somebody suspended. But at the same time, you can't just leave them on knowing that there's a possibility. So
tough. Yeah. And if you want to look into the charges and stuff, we don't have to do all that here. Well, we can have everybody else look that up. But he's clear, and that was a quick deal. I think that was 2 weeks of suspension or 3 maybe. That happened real fast, and charges got dropped real quick. So
and now Chase Elliott's even better. So perfect.
Yep. Chase will be happy. Hendrick will be happy. Very weird situation though. Hendrick Motorsports and their spotters, they just don't have very good luck. But Eddie's back. Eddie's back.
Biggest news I think of the week probably, or maybe I don't know, broke today. Not surprising because I think we already talked about it and speculated this was going to happen. But Jeff Gordon announces today he is leaving the Fox booth, effective immediately, and he will become the vice president at Hendrick Motorsports beginning January 1st, 2022. New big role for him. Rick Hendrick says he's not going anywhere. He's still healthy. But that's the reason to do this now and not later. So
Yep, that's
um,
the old succession plan.
yeah.
Get the next guy who I don't know, Eric. I think Jeff Gordon loves Hendrick Motorsports as just as much as Rick. So
Yeah.
it's the natural course of things, and I will miss Jeff on TV though. I thought he did a great job while he was there, but kind of a bummer that he's gone. But I thought he did great. I thought
Yeah,
Jeff was fine.
I like the rapport between him and Clint too. It was kind of fun because they had that rivalry in the past, but we're able to joke around and have a good time together, and it was good. Obviously, the speculation starts now of who's going to replace Jeff in the booth. I've got a hot take on it that NASCAR won't replace him.
Probably not.
That it's probably just going to be Clint and Mike until Kevin Harvick becomes available. So
In 2 years.
yeah, that's kind of my thought. I think that seat's been reserved for Mr. Harvick. I hope we don't fill it with Michael Waltrip.
Oh my God.
we could always bring DW back.
Yeah, that was NASCAR Chasm's tweet today too. Was Daryl running back? What can you imagine a booth with Daryl Waltrip and Clint Boyer? That would be the most incoherent situation we've ever seen.
Can Clint hold his own? I think he can with just him and Mike, don't you?
Yeah, I mean Clint's fresh out of these cars. I just
he obviously doesn't have the knowledge that Jeff has. But as far as providing some insight into the broadcast Fox is all about the entertainment. NBC's about getting you some interesting facts, and Fox is about entertaining you. And so Clint fits the Fox mold very well.
Eric, I got another comment for somebody else in the booth, for my buddy Ian, who's watching and dropping bombs on the comments. He said Kyle Busch would be great in the booth.
Yeah.
Be a lot of screaming and crying. I think, but yes.
Let's just make Harvick the in-race reporter, and he'll just commentate from the car.
There you go. Well, I mean, Eric, Danica's getting a lot of practice right now.
Oh my God. Fox would do that too. They would.
Oh yeah, they would. They'd pay her a bunch of money. She's terrible. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought she did a good job the first week, and this week was cringy. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the direction we're going to go. I will say, James, I meant to mention it during the Nashville discussion. How great was it to have NBC back?
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
It was really nice. It really bothered me that Fox couldn't be bothered to send their Truck Series broadcasters to the track for Friday night. They broadcast from the studio. Yeah, they especially when Vince Welch was there all weekend.
Yeah, they're not going to be sending anybody very often to the truck races. Sorry.
Yeah, it sucks. So
no, NBC does a great job. Professional broadcast. Like, you can tell the difference right away. The only thing you can't tell is who's talking. Is it Jeff Burton or Dale Jr.? But
I did notice in the Xfinity race, though, at the very beginning, everybody seemed like they sat down beforehand and said, "Don't yell, no yelling," because everybody was really almost sounded depressed, calm. And then it got back to normal, and they were yelling by the end of the race. But I'm all right with it. I don't know. I love Dale Jr. in the booth. Absolutely love Dale Jr. in the booth. If we could find a way to get him on Fox and NBC, I'd be really happy.
That was my thought too. Is what's Dale Jr.'s contract look like at NBC, and would Fox back up the truck?
But see, NBC's they have the show on Peacock too. I mean, he's locked in.
He's not going anywhere.
They won't let him go.
And they're running the download on NBC as well. So Dale's not going anywhere. I was trying to think of anybody else who could really step in, but there's no drivers coming out. So
no.
One guy I thought might be interesting, Carl Edwards maybe, but he's been out of it so long and he's just not interested. So
no.
He's just been out too long, so I don't think he would be a good fit either. He just doesn't seem interested in TV. He hasn't done any practice, obviously, either. So
Kurt Busch is okay on TV, but he's not going.
He's not retiring. Yep, he's not retiring either. So,
yeah. Okay.
I was just going to add, I think Hendrick Motorsports is in a great spot with Jeff Gordon.
Oh yeah, definitely
going to be leading that. I mean, I wonder how much the drivers are going to be getting paid though, moving forward, because I think Jeff's going to make sure they're taken care of. So I'm curious on the business side of things, how that's going to work out.
Yeah,
but
very,
very cool.
Yeah, good to see. I mean, that organization has a plan and will continue to thrive. So
yeah, perfect time to get in on the Hendrick Motorsports bandwagon when you've got these world beaters winning every single week.
Well, I mean, Jeff's been there as part owner since the Jimmy Johnson days, so he's already got all that.
And he's got an eye for talent.
Yeah, Yes, he does.
Jeff Gordon picked Jimmy Johnson, and he told us all about Kyle Larson before Kyle Larson was driving in the Cup Series. So
Yep.
he knows. Jeff knows.
Yep. Yeah, he does.
Yep.
With that, James, we head to Pocono Raceway this weekend. We have our NASCAR doubleheader for the weekend, and Trucks and Xfinity also in action. We'll get to make our picks here in just a second. Just a heads up, based on last week, I beat James 144 to 116. However, James continues to lead with 1646 to 1608. So I'm closing the gap.
Well, like I told you before we went live, I felt like I won on Sunday because I minimized the damage like to the max.
Yeah.
I picked the guy who scored the second most points to Larson. If I can't have Larson, I got to minimize the damage. So I felt
you
really
lucked
good.
out really good on Saturday too, because Hemrick wrecked, but you still only lost 10 points in that.
Yeah, Hemrick wrecked, but he had a great day in the stages and scored 40. So yeah, you maxed out on Saturday as well. So you picked a couple of winners and then a winner and 2 second place guys. So that's pretty good.
I was so mad when I saw the Todd Gilliland penalty, because I'm like, that just killed my season. I'm done. No way I can catch James. And then
25, it's only 25. Yeah.
So
no big deal.
Yeah,
no big deal. And this is a great week to pick first. You get the double. You get one race without kind of I don't know. You get a bonus cup race. You get 2 cup races here, so it kind of landed in your favor.
Yeah, we are going to do it unlike last year. We will pick separately for both races for the Cup Series. So we'll do it in the order of the races this weekend. We start off with the Truck Series and the CRC Brake Lean 150. I get the first pick, and James, I'm not doing anything spectacular on this one. I am just going to go with John Hunter Nemechek.
John Hunter Nemechek, very good. For me, he's due. And I need to get some points back here, so I'll take Sheldon Creed to get the job done on Sunday.
That's a good one. Interesting note that if you look through the Truck Series and Xfinity Series stats here, we haven't run a lot of races in either of those series at Pocono, but they're like all Cup Series drivers that have won races here. So
yeah, for sure.
And we're gonna have that this weekend because Kyle Busch is running both, I think. So
yep.
I know he's running the truck race. I think he's running the Xfinity as well. Then the Cup Series, it has on Saturday the Pocono Organic CBD 325, the first CBD sponsored NASCAR race. I don't know what you think of that, James. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, the CBD company is owned by the people who own Pocono,
right?
So that's yeah. I mean, there's something going on there, but that's fine.
I'm also not going out on much of a limb here and going with the guy that wrecked last week and going Austin Cindric on this one.
Nice. I'm going to. So you gave me an opening here.
Yeah.
And we haven't picked him because I think we forget about him all the time. But I am going to take Ty Gibbs.
Nice.
On Sunday because he is a world beater as well. So
that's a good one.
I was wondering if we would.
He is racing, right? I don't want you to pick somebody who's not racing.
I'm pretty sure he's on the qualifying list. So
right.
I saw it. So Ty Gibbs will be there. So I'm going to take him. Let's see if I can't sneak one out here and get a straight up win.
I screwed up. I just put him in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. I did the Xfinity picks. So my bad. That was supposed to be Cup picks. Sorry. My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
So that is the Pocono Green 225 recycled by JP Mascaro and Sons.
Yeah, there you go.
Picks. Yes. Now let's do the Saturday Cup picks because that's what I meant to do.
Yeah, you go.
This one I'm on the fence on. I've kind of gone back and forth multiple times, and I'm going to go with my gut on this one, James. And I'm going to do the same thing you did last week, and I'm going to go with William Byron.
Nice.
I very much was leaning toward Denny Hamlin. Because Denny has been pretty much the winningest driver here in recent times, but Denny has not been great lately. So
yep, very good. While I can take him while he's on his hot streak, I'm going to take Kyle Larson and try to get some of those points back. So again, we were talking before the podcast, and I thought I'm going to get a Larson shot here. You might get him again, but either way, I can get a shot at him again. For the Road America Road Course too, if I wanted. So there's some other. I'm going to use them while I can. I got a chance to take Larson and on this epic hot streak that he's on. I'm going to take it.
You might as well just put him down for me for the Explorer the Pocono Mountains 350 because he's going to be my pick for Sunday.
Sounds good. Hopefully, one of us is going to get this right, and one of us is going to get screwed.
Yeah,
or we could both get screwed. I'll
end up screwed, I'm sure.
Yeah. I will. It's hard to go against the Hendrick horsepower, but Denny Hamlin's got to get one somewhere. So I'll take Denny Hamlin for race 2, going in a little bit blind here, but I just think he'll have a solid day, hopefully, and I can get some points out of it. I just have a heart, like I am not picking a Hendrick driver makes me itch just a little bit. So
Yeah.
so there you go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you there. One thing worth noting, neither of us picked Kevin Harvick at all this weekend. Harvick's been running good.
He's getting better.
Win here last year, so
yeah. Harvick and Hamlin split last year.
Split first and second. I mean,
they did. Yeah, they swapped. Yeah, Hamlin's got 2 wins in the last 3. Harvick obviously with 1. Average finish goes to Hamlin. He's a 1.3 over those last 3 races. Some other guys just to watch though: Martin Truex, Eric Almirola, Brad.
Eric Almirola's a good sleeper right now.
Yeah, Blaney. We shouldn't forget Blaney. He'll be good. So yeah, some other ones. I wonder, with Chip Ganassi Racing seems to have something going on. Maybe Kurt Busch or Ross Chastain could sneak up there. So something to think about. But yeah, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a limb, take Hamlin. So I think we got a good roster of drivers here, though, Eric. I went Creed, Gibbs, Larson, Hamlin. You went Nemechek, Cindric, Byron, Larson. So can't go wrong. It's gonna be close. I need Ty Gibbs to show me something, though.
There you go.
All right. Very good.
How about fantasy, James? I think you did pretty well this week, right?
Haha. Yeah, I've been waiting to talk about this one. Let me pull it up. I have to close the comments, people, so bear with me. But yes, fantasy. So I ended Sunday with a 2-point win over Ranger, and we were sending Twitters back and forth there. And then Chase Elliott's penalty hit, and I ended up with a much bigger win. I was kind of mad because it's like I finally beat Ranger, and it didn't matter. It was like 2 points, but I will take a 40-point win anytime I can get one, whether Chase has got a penalty or not. So I won the day 248. And the big reason why, obviously, Larson, I had him all over my bonus picks, but I went with Ross Chastain. And again,
Nice.
going back to the practice session, I looked at those 10-lap average speeds and kind of geared my roster around that a little bit. So that felt really good to have some information to go off of to be able to make these picks. So felt good about that. So ended up winning the week 248. Ranger was second and tied with Rusty W2. So Ranger had the penalty and was still able to finish second. And then our buddy Todd was right behind him, 208.
I finished 6th, but I was only 4 points behind second. So
yeah, I mean, it was a blanket. Yeah. Second was 209 and all the way down to 7th place was 201. So we've got 8-point difference between second and 7th. So really good week for everybody. Everybody's scoring over 200. My second win of the year. I'm very happy about that. They are very hard to come by in our league right now. Ranger's still way out in front though. Overall, he leads 3,446. I am now in second though. Which I am, again, very happy about that. That's probably as high as I'll get, and I'll drop like a rock. I am in second, 250 points behind, and Bird 8U is third, Fast to the Grass fourth, and Eric, you are fifth, the KB show. There you go. Yeah.
Before we move or close out the show, let's talk a little SRX racing. They were at Knoxville Raceway this past weekend, and I thought the racing was pretty decent. I will say that, James, we were kind of led to believe that these were going to race like dirt cars, and they kind of race like NASCAR cars on dirt.
They did. They raced like trucks. That flat surface at Knoxville definitely made it difficult for the drivers. I think
it wasn't bad racing, but it wasn't watching late models or sprint cars by any means.
Yeah. They're heavy. I mean, big. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're okay.
But these big heavy cars, they got a lot of horsepower in them. But you are 100% correct. It looked like a truck race, but we were messaging back and forth. And after watching that, and that was my takeaway. This truck race might not be too bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the truck race now after seeing that. I was worried about seeing them run on such a flat track. But I think it might work out well. Tony Stewart gets the win there. Very excited about it because I believe it's his first win at Knoxville, right?
His first win at Knoxville, and man, I enjoyed that as a fan. Obviously, seeing him get a W was kind of fun. Ranger wanted to make sure that we mentioned Haley Deegan was second.
Yeah, I was cheering for her, man. I want to see her beat Smoke.
She ran so good.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show you, James, that they've talked about these cars. They're easy to drive, but hard to drive fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, Haley's got a ton of experience on dirt. She's got a ton of experience with a car that slides around.
Yep.
You know, it probably fit right into her wheelhouse for this.
I mean, I don't know about, I know you're less optimistic about SRX than I am. I'm
more optimistic now, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad, because I was gonna say watching that race on Saturday night was just fun for me. Yeah. I just really enjoyed it. Just
the changes they made to the format were certainly improved.
They definitely, yeah, they made it. Yeah, the improvement changes were great. I think the driving from the drivers was really, like, Paul Tracy was all over. It was fun. Michael Waltrip was up there, and that was fun. Tony made his funny comments about that.
Loved it.
Scott Bloomquist, which, Eric, you and I have seen Scott Bloomquist a couple of times. Watching Scott do his thing was just hilarious. Like, he bonsai'd that first corner on that second heat, and totally, you know, kind of blew up his chances to win the event. But yeah, there was some heat going on between Tracy and Waltrip. That was fun. And then obviously, I do think, though, Eric, that Tony carried the field just a little bit. What do you think? Do you think he was kind of keeping it close there?
It's Tony's series. He's not going to sit there and run away with it. He's just not. Yeah. You know, if anybody's going to go out there and not get a giant lead, it's Tony Stewart.
Yeah, I just felt like I was watching a boxing match where you know, the better fighter was kind of carrying his opponent to the distance instead of knocking him out. I think that if Tony wanted to, he could have gotten away from the field. He made an outside pass on I think it was Bloomquist, and it was definitely the best pass of the night, where nobody else was going out there to try to get that. It was a lot of rooting and gouging to make moves through the field, but he went outside, and after I saw that, I just knew he was toying with everybody at that point. So
yeah, I'm optimistic for what it's become. I think it's, you know, I think the package that they had on Saturday night was a lot tighter, which was better. Of course, I did watch it delayed so I could skip through all the intermissions while they were working on cars and stuff. So that's even better.
It's fun. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy with what it's become.
It's a quick show too. It's a, you know, fairly quick show. You tune in at 8:00, you're done by 9:30, and that's nice. You know, just watching a quick race, and there's something there. They've got a foundation to build on. It's definitely not perfect.
That's what it is. It's a foundation. Like to me, I feel like I'm watching the Dancing with the Stars of auto racing right now, because
that's kind of, that's,
you know, it's really not the stars, but I think it has a potential to become that way. So that's
and the young drivers that have made their appearances in this series have performed, you know, going up against, you know, Elio Castroneves and Tony Stewart. I mean, there's some really talented drivers.
Who's the IMSA guy that's just been awesome? Francis?
Eddie Francis. He's second in points. Watching Haley Deegan, and then Doug Kobe the week before. He's not a young guy, but, you know, turned his opportunity, and one of the goals of the series was to give local legends a chance to race against a Tony Stewart and Elio Castroneves. And they turned their opportunity into, you know, Doug Kobe's going to race trucks. And then Haley Deegan gets to come out. We joked about that, Eric, but that was one of the best races for her, I think, in a long time. I think definitely got my attention from Haley Deegan. I haven't thought of Haley much since she's been in the truck series. So that was definitely a great showing from her.
Yeah, I agree.
That she needed.
Again, I think they've got a good package here that allows the cars to race. You don't see anybody that's just out to lunch. I mean, other than Bill Elliott, who keeps having the fuel pickup problems.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it's been pretty good. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to Eldora. I think it's going to be a great show this weekend. I think Eldora's going to put on a great race.
Certainly, there's room to improve. I mean, we can start with the booth by getting Danica out of there.
Oh God,
but it's been good so far. It certainly has proven me wrong. So I mean,
there's definitely,
I would call it a success for what it's been.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it's high level local short track racing. That's what it is. Yep.
As soon as you stop comparing it to NASCAR, it's great.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not NASCAR. It's its own thing.
Right.
There's room for an SRX series 10 weeks a year, I think. Yeah. You know, along with F1 IndyCar and all the all the other motorsports out there. If you
Yep.
like short track racing but can't get to your local short track, this is a great option to watch really good race car drivers, aged as some of them may be, race on short tracks and put on a good show for you. And the series definitely is entertaining. That's that's the one thing it has going for it. Paul Tracy's not afraid to bang the car off the wall, and seeing somebody as talented as Elio Castroneves racing on dirt is just a novelty that's very fun to see.
Yeah, I agree. Just don't do the ASA thing and don't start running these things on big tracks.
Yeah, I don't think they need to.
Short tracks.
Yeah, I don't think they need to. I think this can stay a short track local scene series. Yep. No tracks bigger than a mile. I think you're fine.
Yep. Even that, I think that's pushing it.
Well, they're going to go to Nashville and they're going to go to ORP or IRP or whatever the RP
Those are
is.
Half mile though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're I think Nashville's a little bit bigger than that, if I'm not mistaken.
But it's not much.
Well, and then we're going obviously to Slinger, which is a quarter mile,
right?
Oval, which is that's the one.
That's the last one, right?
No, that's the one before the last one.
Okay.
I think they end at Nashville. I think they go from Eldora.
You're right. They do end at Nashville.
I think they end at Nashville. Yeah.
They're gonna rip some cars up at Slinger. So.
Yeah, they are. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. They definitely are.
All right, James, you got any shout outs this week?
Well, just based on the 200th episode, I want to shout out just my family, my wife, everybody who lets me do this on a weekly basis. I've shouted them out before. But thanks to Aaron and everybody, mostly Aaron, she gets to, take care of the kids, but I've had some help over the last couple of months, especially during the pandemic. Like my mother-in-law, Lisa, was here with the kids, helping us with, being able for my wife and I just to be able to work. One thing, but then she lets me, do the podcast too. So, family has been very important throughout this process. Couldn't do it without them. And then I was listening to the Dan Le Batard Show podcast today, and one of the guests was Lindsay Zarniak. So I wanted to shout that out. If you want to hear about a NASCAR media member who had to climb the ranks, she tells about, I don't know, it's maybe like a half an hour. But she's got a cool story, and she's hosting some shows on Fox right now. And obviously, Eric, she was big at ESPN. She was hosting Sports Center for a couple of years there before they separated. So, but she's been in NASCAR for a long time, and just kind of an interesting story. So, quick shout out on that one as well. If you like listening to us babble, that might pique your interest. So,
yeah, I like Lindsay.
There you go. She's
cool.
Yeah, she does a good job.
I don't have anything specifically, but I'll head to the comments here. Well, I guess James shouted out his wife, so I have to shout out my wife too. My wife Kay.
That's always a competition we have. Yeah.
Who continue to let me do this every week. And when we lived in the apartment, everybody would either leave the apartment or be super quiet so that I could do this, recording right in the living room. So that's it's been a huge help. Grateful for them allowing me to do this. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. If you gotten a ton of encouragement.
No. Yeah, and the wives are in charge.
Yeah.
By all means. I mean, like if the wives came to us and said, "You're not doing this anymore," we would get shut down. So
right,
we got we got to thank the wives from time to time.
For sure. And I want to head to the comments on the Facebook stream too, and just thank everybody who joined us live tonight for the 200th episode.
Yeah, I got a couple of my buddies on there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I know you're probably having a good laugh. But
you said Ian's one of your buddies, right?
Yeah, Ian's one of my buddies.
So Ian gives us a question for the post show, but I want to do it before we end the show. Mark Martin, he says, "Great driver or the greatest driver?" James,
the greatest driver.
Greatest driver.
Yeah, I'm gonna play to the audience. Mark Martin's the greatest driver of all time.
There you go. I will say Mark Martin is the greatest driver to never win a Cup Series championship.
He definitely is that. There's no doubt about that in my mind. He is definitely the greatest to never win the championship. But listen, man, he won the IROC championship a whole bunch more than everybody else. So take that for what it's worth. Mark Martin is the greatest driver in the history of the IROC series.
There you go.
So,
well, I mean, Davey Allison did win the IROC series championship after he passed away. So,
well, yeah, he did.
Can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
And Tony Stewart won the last one. So
Tony Stewart won the last one. Dale Earnhardt won a couple. But yeah, when it comes to the International Race of Champions, no champion was greater than Mark Martin. I saw that comment and laughed. So that's good.
I will say that that Denny Hamlin is closely approaching that that record of greatest driver without.
He's getting pretty close. Well, he's got those Daytona 500s that yeah. I'm glad Ian spun us out at the end of the show. Thanks. Good work.
Hey, that's the best part of being live. James, if people want to talk to you about Mark Martin or anybody else, how can they find you on social media?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook, facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. We were live there tonight. You can check out the live feed. It will be still up there, so you can check that out if you want to. See a little bit of pre and post stuff, post show, and stuff you don't normally get to see, although we're a little more behaved than we used to be before we recorded that.
That's true.
If you want more of the podcast, you can visit us at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find links to old episodes, past race coverage, photos, all that stuff. You can check it out there, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can also find us on YouTube if you search for Dream Bigger Media. I was really slow uploading it last week, but because we did it live on Facebook, I didn't feel the rush. But it's up there now, guys, so you can check it out. And this week's episode hopefully will be up there a little bit sooner. So yeah, anything else, James, before we head on out of here?
No, just again, thanks to everybody who was watching on Facebook Live today. It's something we tested it last week, and our buddy Ranger Runyon showed up twice. So Ranger, thanks, man. And he says that we need to shout out ourselves for 200 more. So
awesome.
Hey man, I don't know if we're gonna make it to the next one, so we're just asking for 200 is a lot, but Ranger's been listening to us for a long time, so thanks, man. I saw my buddy Devlin chimed in for a little bit too, and our buddy Todd, obviously. So thanks, guys, for all the support over the past couple of years and over the 200 episodes we've been at it. So yeah, we really appreciate it. Eric, I don't know about you, I really enjoyed this live commentary coming in from other people. That was kind of fun. Yeah, definitely something different that I really enjoyed.
I agree. I can't say we'll do it every week, but we'll try to do it some more here in the future. Going forward, we tried it out last week to see how it worked. Didn't really announce it. Decided to promote it this week, and then I ended up sick and had to push it back a day. So thanks everybody for joining us a day later. And yeah, we'll do it some more. And who knows? We've got race coverage coming up. It might make it tough to do video at times, so we might lose a couple video episodes. But we'll do what we can. The audio episode will always be there, so make sure you check that out. You can always find it wherever you find your podcast. So. We go to Pocono Raceway this weekend for 2 days of Cup Series racing. It's the Pocono Organic CBD 325 and Explore the Pocono Mountains 350. We'll be back next week to break it all down and talk to you about it all. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.